Shave your shit.
But where will you hide your laudanum? That's what we'll
All
learn
these
today.
questions and more will be answered in this episode on
Do you wanna
the
know who the
Pre-Raphaelite
PBRs are?
Brotherhood.
Yes.
We talk about PBR,
PRB.
PBR.
Professional bull riding.
They won a blue ribbon at one point,
Yeah.
and
I'm sure these guys did too.
we talk about some paintings.
We talk about quite a few characters that are not the best people, as we do on
Yeah.
our Damaged podcast.
People that don't have their shit together.
I forget what year it is.
1840.
I mean, there were so many names.
Anywhere between 1640 and 1848.
Dude, there are so many names in this episode, though. It's hard to keep track of like everybody who did what thing. But I think we figured it all out at the end.
Ruskin. Waterhouse.
Waterhouse wasn't
rule.
part of it, so
The Waterhouse rules.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, takeaways from this. Look at Waterhouse.
I mean, the other guys did some cool stuff too.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
some good artwork in this one.
Just don't copy their lifestyle.
Yes, that's what you take away from this.
Don't marry 12-year-olds.
So yeah,
well, they didn't. You'll learn. They didn't do that.
Christina wrote a great episode. Thank
did.
you again.
Again.
Cheers.
Don't
Cheers
marry-
to Tina.
Don't marry 12-year-olds. Don't eat at Crapplebees. Cheers.
And definitely like, share, and subscribe
Yeah.
to this channel on YouTube.
And drink lots of North Brewery.
And whenever we get the audio version up, you can listen to that too.
And maybe
ever.
get our T-shirts if we ever make them.
Thumb up the ass.
Bye. Or watch this, whatever.
Damaged by you, damaged by me. I'm confused, don't wanna be confused.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
Hey.
Hi, everyone.
We're back. What are we talking about today, Christina?
Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood.
A bunch of bros.
Bunch of
arting it up.
bros.
What?
Even back in the day, they were still bros.
Like dude bros or
Bro
you'll
bros.
find out. You'll find out.
Bro bros.
I hope there's some debauchery in this one.
There's things that happen, for sure.
Here's the thing that happened.
It's like an art fraternity kind of thing.
That's what I was gonna ask.
They tried to be that, but they're kind of fucking nerds, if we're gonna be honest.
Cool.
They're fucking nerds. So are we doing intros, or are we just going straight to the...
Yeah, let's do that. I'm Josh Ruff at joshruff.com and all the things, www.joshruff.com, and we're here at Renaissance Studios at RS Tattoo NY on Instagram.
Hi, everyone. Reggie Inks here. I like to draw, tattoo, illustrate. You can find me online. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon at Reggie Inks.
Hi, I'm Christina Maslar. You can find me at Christina Maslar on Instagram and Facebook and here and at home in real life. That's my name.
Bam Maslar. You can find me online. At places.
BamBirdsThings.com.
That one.
All right, cool. So what's new, everybody?
The North Brewery would like to remind us to fuck chain restaurants.
Yes, fuck chain restaurants.
They don't
and their
care about
stupid
you.
asses.
Not
They
like
don't-
take your pants off in them.
No, go
but
shit. Go
just-
shit in the bathroom.
Dude, like,
I shitted on the floor.
why go to a chain restaurant when you can go to a nice mom and pop joint that probably has way better food?
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's probably the same price or less.
In defense of that, how many times has it been like 1 a.m.? We're really drunk. And
That's
like,
where they get you. It's
Yeah.
like they're the only
Yeah.
assholes open at like 1 in the morning.
mozzarella sticks?
Yeah, when you're all fucked up. Like after when we do this podcast every week.
Yeah. And
need
I
a
really need some
secretary?
TGI Thursdays.
Yeah.
But yeah, go visit the
Fuck
North
bees
Brewery,
and TGI.
110 Washington Ave, Endicott. Get some beer.
Buy some shit. Drink some shit.
Yeah. Go in there and get a beer.
I think.
And then take home
Yes.
4-packs?
Yes. Do all those things.
Yeah.
All right, so the Pre-Raphaelites.
The Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood. So they were founded in 1848 by John Everett Malas. And I'm probably not going to pronounce any of these fuckers' names right. So let's
Would,
just...
well, you're probably going to get to all this, so continue.
Hey, he was born.
Yeah. There was also Dante Gabriel Rossetti
Where's yours?
and William Holman Hunt. They all came together and they were like, we're English painters and art critics and writers, and we don't like the way that they're teaching us shit at school. Because, they're rebels. So they hated
So they're
conventional
us?
norms and academia and art.
So they were us in school?
Not really, because the people that they hated the most, or what they hated the most about it, was like Raphael and also Michelangelo. The real art foundation.
Oh, okay.
Foundation of art. So we have
Let's bring up a couple of those.
Not the concept of school. It was just the people. Like
just
the
what
other
they
artists.
were meant, like what they were learning at school. They
And the
didn't think it
techniques
was-
associated with those artists.
Yeah, they were like, it's fucking boring. Why are we doing this? This is bullshit.
Because that's awesome.
Yeah, this is a Raphael, right?
That is Raphael. That one is
I believe his full name is
The-
Raffaello Sanzio.
yes, because there's a couple of Raphaels, I guess.
Yeah.
Back then.
Good
this is
pronunciation.
Transfiguration of Jesus. That's from 1518.
All right.
Hi, Jesus.
This is some high Renaissance shit right here.
Yeah.
And these guys fucking hated it.
Speaking of high Renaissance, look at that fucking little kid losing his shit.
Yeah.
Uh,
Something's going on with that guy.
He is high
He
as
must be the
shit.
village idiot.
No, he's
If
high
you
as
can
shit.
zoom, I wish you could zoom in on that because he has his eyes aren't friends; they're going in opposite
Yeah.
directions.
Yeah.
Do you know the name of this piece?
This one is the Transfiguration of Jesus.
That's right.
His,
Yeah, maybe-
his eyes aren't friends.
No, like one's this way and one is this way.
Everyone should go look this up online. I'm sure you could find a very high resolution image of it where you can zoom in and just check
Yeah.
out all the details of this because it's really phenomenal. But that kid is like, there's something
memes
going on.
made of that kid.
Yeah, that kid's an art meme for sure.
We'll probably mock him at some point later on.
Yeah. I wish I had found it. Like, I didn't realize it was that painting till it was up there because it was on my cell phone. And then I saw that kid and I was like, what the fuck?
Well, to me, this is like a really great example of that time period in painting and just like everything that's going on, like all the chiaroscuro and the shadows and stuff, and like the apotheosis of Jesus up top. It's all pretty great. Like,
Yeah, it seems like it's things that
it's
you
a
need
fucking
to
masterpiece
learn
for a reason, you know?
as
didn't they-
a foundation of when you're in fucking art school.
Yeah.
Just a thought, but these guys were not about it. Their first meeting took place at Malaz's father's home because they were cool and hung out at their dad's places. Malaz went to the Royal Academy with Holman Hunt, and then Rossetti was his roommate. So they were the first three to kind of come together and make the group.
Like, hey, man, start a brotherhood.
We'll call ourselves a brotherhood. It'll be rad. So they discussed that they believed classical compositions of artists like Michelangelo and Raphael, which if you go to the next ones, Michelangelo, Creation of Adam.
One of the most famous paintings in human history.
Yes.
Nah, he's not wearing
This is in the
pants.
Sistine Chapel.
They said that both of those artists have been corrupting and influencing academic teaching of art. Also, their main beef seemed to be with the founder of the Royal Academy, Sir Joshua Reynolds. So a
Damn
bunch.
Josh fucking Reynolds. He's a Reynolds.
There are a bunch of artists and poets and writers. What burn do you think they came up to insult this guy?
Nerd. I don't know.
You're
Sir
ugly.
Sloshua.
I wish everybody would call me that when I get shit faced.
Oh, that's gonna be you from now
Yeah,
on.
you can.
Slosh.
I will not take offense to that term. That's fucking awesome.
Sir
It is a very
Sloshua.
low effort burn
It
though on their
really
part.
was.
Oh man,
And the
that's
Royal
so kindergarten
Academy
level.
it started in 1768. That thing is still fucking going today. So these guys didn't know what the hell they were talking about back then. They were just like, this guy's a loser. His name is Sloshua. He teaches all this old shit. We don't care anymore.
Was
But
it Sir Sloshua?
So wait,
Sir
what year was this
Sloshua.
founded again?
This was founded in 1848.
Okay, so this is a bit after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like hundreds of years later. So
Yeah, they still have shit with this guy. I don't
Yeah.
know why. But yeah. So they called him Sir Sloshua because they're fucking nerds.
Burn.
their brotherhood.
Sick burn.
So in the fall of that year, they added members James Coulson, Frederick George Stevens, William Michael Rossetti, and Thomas Woolner. So they were more sculptors, writers, and artists that came to the group. Basically, their goals were to take influence from nature and come up with more complex compositions and bright color palettes.
well, I kind of get that because like there was a lot of formulaic stuff to all this old Renaissance art, you know?
Yeah, it was more stiff, so they wanted to go
Yeah.
more natural and realism. But I feel like if you're going to school for this shit, you need to learn the basics.
Yeah, well, yeah, there needs
Dude.
to be an appreciation for this because this
Yeah.
is like, you know, this is what set the tone for.
And this is all at the same
Art.
time this is going on, right?
No, this is 1500s.
Yeah,
Okay,
this,
when was this?
1800s.
Oh.
So this was 1848.
I missed the year.
we're bad with numbers.
Yeah, I missed the year completely. I just heard 48 and assumed.
So they had some rules as a group because, you know, fucking nerds. Their main rules were have genuine ideas,
No girls allowed.
basically.
Don't feed it after midnight.
Study nature attentively so as to know how to express them. Sympathize with what direct, serious, and heartfelt previous art to the exclusion of what was it? I don't even understand what's conventional. And then also produce good pictures and statues.
Don't suck. That's
Basically
always a good
don't-
rule to have
Dude,
with your
that-
group.
That's the most bro
And-
attitude. I pick things up, I put them down. I paint good pictures.
Because they were trying to be sneaky bitches in their brotherhood, they were like, don't tell the Royal Academy we exist.
Oh,
Because they were still fucking going to school there.
So they're trying to do a snub to the Royal Academy
While they're going there.
While they're going there.
and not telling anyone that they're trying.
Yeah.
First rule of art.
It's
Fight
good to
Club
know
is you
that-
do not talk about art Fight Club.
Yeah.
Seriously,
It's good to
what?
know that art nerds have existed throughout history. You
Yeah,
know?
for a really long time. And
And Michelangelo
These guys
should have drawn
were not
Adam's dick way fucking bigger.
It is pretty tiny.
it
That's
is.
why we gotta study nature. Take your pants off, bro. Welcome to the Brotherhood.
Imagine if that's the only thing they were pissed at. They were like, look how small his dick is. This isn't realistic. We have to study it. Study the dick. It didn't say that in their rules, though, so I can't be clear if that
We
was...
can add that.
We could. We could just make shit up. I mean, this is Wikipedia. Add whatever you want.
Yeah. You could
Cheers
do
to
that.
studying the dick.
You can drink to that. I'm going to drink by myself. Later.
All right,
I'll show you my belly button later.
let's do it.
So they also became fascinated with medieval culture, and they thought it possessed creative integrity that was lost on the world of art today, like, 1800s today. But because realism and medieval times don't really go together, it kind of split the group in two.
Yeah.
So Malas did stuff with Hunt, and they just kind of did realism, and then Rossetti did more.
As in medieval
things.
stuff where people are playing chess while
their thumbs
other
up their
people are
ass.
fingering their butthole.
Yeah.
There's flying eyeballs shooting around.
Shout out to our first art critique episode.
That should just be our new logo.
Ooh, we could do that. Could we put that on a T-shirt?
Just
Art damage and a finger in a butt.
we could do that, yeah. I think anything that old is Creative
Cool.
Commons, so we
It
could
is.
put that on a
He
T-shirt.
never
if
signed
you
it.
want.
He
I think we need to
never
do-
signed it.
that was just from like the margins of some kind of book from back in the day. I don't even know
Bible.
what.
All right, let's
was the Bible.
earmark that idea. We'll get back around to that.
If you're interested, please comment.
Yeah, mask and T-shirts.
Our friend.
I'm up the butt.
One friend.
Our one friend.
Hi,
our,
Billy.
Our fan. My mom. Love
Hi,
you,
Mom.
So, Hunt and Malas were more into realism, so they devised a technique with glazing where they used translucent pigments over white to give like a more jewel transparent color appearance.
A
So
solid technique, I
yeah.
will say.
but this
Do we have any of those images?
Yeah, I did one, but they did it over white, so the colors are super bright, like you could see in the background in her hair.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of looked more iridescent and
Do
like
we-
it was glowing.
Do we know who painted this one?
Yeah,
Yeah, this one is John Everett Malas, and it's called The Bridesmaid.
it's pretty dope.
So these guys kind of knew what they were doing, but
That's what I was
they
gonna
were
say.
shitting on Raphael and Michelangelo. So
but it still is very similar in technique and genre.
I mean, it's a
and-
little different. Like, if you go back and look at the other one, I think this is a fresco, right?
yeah, that's on the ceiling
Yeah.
of the Sistine Chapel. I
Yeah,
think it
so
is.
you
Yeah.
might not be able to achieve those same techniques. Like, I'm not very knowledgeable about frescoes, but I'm just making a broad assumption here that it's not the same as working on like a canvas or something.
No,
We make broad assumptions quite a bit.
Yeah,
it's all we're
that's
made
what
of.
we
really.
do here. But like that vibrant glaze in the background is pretty evident in this one. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so Malas, you'll see a lot of, like, he kind of repeats this technique in his other paintings that we'll show later, but it kind of gives it a glow and vibrancy that paintings before that didn't really have too much.
Yeah, it's like looking through like stained glass.
Stained
kind
glass
of thing.
window, yeah.
Yeah.
But you see stuff like, they definitely influence people like Gustav Klimt and stuff
Oh yeah.
afterwards.
I was just meaning similar style of like the hands are very similar. It's still the still life.
Yeah, and like
it's-
subject for sure,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
maybe
it's-
not technique so much.
I think they took more influence from people like Botticelli versus people.
Like if you told me that was painted in the 1500s, the only part that I would question is how bright and vibrant it is.
Yeah.
That's really about it.
Man, if you had that blue pigment back in the 1500s,
Oh, you were fucking
rolling in the dough.
David did a whole podcast episode about that color blue back in the day. Check it out.
Shout out to Gimme Babble.
Yes.
Yes, David Stupakis. And what's the other David's last
David
name?
Hochbaum.
Okay.
So their first two projects as a group was an art show at Hyde Park. It featured paintings, and it was in 1849. So John Everett Malas did one called Isabella, which if you hit next, it should be this one. And then Hunt did one called Ranzi. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but that one's next.
Well, let's check out this one for a second. 'Cause this is pretty wild.
Yeah, you can see how they took more of the Renaissance patterning for their background, but it's definitely much more
It's not
true to form.
Yeah, there's not like a huge amount of contrast like the other ones, you know? There's
No.
like a lot of subtleties in the values in the background
Mhm.
that you didn't really see. And like, there's not a lot of like chiaroscuro going on.
Or an
No.
extreme light source or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Their main focus was they wanted bright colors and lots of detail.
There's a lot of shit going on in this painting.
Mm-hmm. And I'm
Like,
guessing,
there's a fucking hawk over there just eating some shit.
I didn't
and
even
judging
notice
by
that.
all the dudes, I'm wondering if this is supposed to be like some kind of Greek myth or something. Well, they used a lot of their stuff was inspired either by old stories or poems by like Tennyson and stuff.
Okay.
I could have wrote down what was the inspiration for this, but I didn't.
It's okay. What's the name of this one again?
Isabella.
Oh.
It's cool. There's a
Yeah,
lot
like-
going on.
Look at that creeper just like eyeing her. He's into it. Are you
She's
into
like,
it?
I'm not
The guy
gonna
in
make
the-
eye contact.
The guy in the
I
pink
just
robe here, which is probably red.
The pink velour.
Dude, everything's so well rendered in this, though. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just confused by the guy trying to pet the animal with his foot.
He's probably fucking shit faced, you know?
There's always one in the group.
I'm not even sure if that's a dog or a deer. Like
It's a
fawn.
dog. It looks like a Great Dane.
Yeah.
'Cause Great Danes were like a dog back then.
They were a dog.
Yeah.
It's pretty close to a deer, though.
Yeah.
looking at it.
They were a dog.
I mean, there's some dogs from back then that don't exist anymore. You could find old-timey Victorian photos. They looked fucked up, those dogs back then.
So did the cats.
Yeah.
The paintings of them, yes.
The paintings, but these are photos of old dogs. And the next one is Ranzi by Hunt. So same thing, not too much contrast between foreground and background, but lots of people.
Lots of detail.
Yeah.
Well, these guys can definitely bring it when it comes to painting, you know?
Yeah, it was like they looked at Dürer prints and were like, we can do this, but in paint and better.
Yeah.
I just wish there was more of lighting, like more of a light source.
Yeah.
Some sort of drama.
I mean,
It's
when the
probably
light is-
It's
something
a
they,
singular
uh,
light source, you know, but it's like pretty good. It's pretty well rendered.
It's probably something they didn't learn in their first year at Royal Academy. Maybe if they stop
they all-
talking shit and go to class.
That was the day they all skipped. Was
Yeah,
lighting.
Well, it's super realistic, though.
it is.
Because it's just a single outside light source. You can even see the moon in the daytime up here.
Yeah, I was gonna say so.
It's pretty cool. The clouds are kind of very unrealistic. I don't know if that's supposed to be like a shape of something up in here, you know?
That's a dick.
Dick clouds, yeah.
That's their fifth mantra, realistic dicks.
Big realistic dicks.
And the next one is Girlhood of Mary Virgin, and this one is by Rossetti.
They loved their detail.
They loved it. They just wanted as much of it in there as possible. Just shove all the fucking detail.
Yeah.
I feel like they iron out a bit as they go along, but this was their first one, so they just were like, let's put as much fucking shit in this as possible.
Just first round.
Yeah, one light source.
Man,
all
those
the
books
details.
are fucking huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, though.
I want books that big.
And for this show, they each signed their name, and then they also signed PRB for Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood.
They're in the club.
PBR?
PRB.
Oh, PRB.
You have no idea how many times I wrote PBR and scratched it out. So their second project for the year, which ended up happening in 1850 instead of 1859, it was a book called The Germ, but it was a literary magazine, and it was edited by William Rossetti, which is Dante's brother. And it included essays on art and literature as well as poems, but it only ran from January to April, so it didn't really do too good. And
Do you know if you can find that in print anywhere now?
I have no idea. And I was scared to Google The Germ.
You're not going to get what you're looking for right now.
Probably not. Not a good year to look up The Germ.
Or the images.
No. So, 1850, the shit show begins. We're going to go into a couple different shit shows here because they overlap. The first is Malas. He has a painting he exhibits called Christ in the House of His Parents. So if you go to the next one, it's a photo. The composition shows a more natural view of the family life. It shows... Oh, where was I? Fuck, I lost my place because I'm a professional.
It's all right. We'll just glance at this
Yeah.
weird thing for a minute.
That's a painting.
So it was... He used his sister-in-law for the model for Mary, and it's supposed to be a more naturalistic view, so realism. Still has all the detail in that. Just take it in. What do you think the critics thought of this?
They probably hated it.
Well, what do
As
you
critics do.
What do you think they hated about it?
Everything, because critics usually do.
Jesus isn't a fat baby. That's
Yeah.
fucking shredded.
Yeah.
He kind of looks like Thomason from The Witch.
A little bit.
The
Yeah.
Vish?
Yeah.
Or The Queen's Gambit, if you watch that.
Oh yeah.
Anya, what's her name?
Yeah, I don't know her
The
last
actress.
name. So critics thought the medieval approach to the composition and detail was ugly. Charles Dickens, charming Charles Dickens, wrote our children's books when we were little.
Mm-hmm.
He was a critic at the time, and he said, Malas made the family look like alcoholics and slum dwellers, adopting contorted and absurd medieval poses. First of all, Dickens, those look nothing like us.
First of all, dick.
Just
Ins.
saying.
And where's the alcohol?
No, he said they look like alcoholics.
Right, but alcoholics always have alcohol
Well,
nearby.
dude, wasn't he a carpenter? Like,
Exactly.
it's not a glamorous life they were living back then. In
They were
fucking
poor.
Jerusalem, around what, 33 BC or AD or whatever.
Before he was there.
Yeah.
Before they had time. They didn't have
Before
time
Christ.
before that. After that, they had time.
Oh, what do I do?
So fuck Charles Dickens.
Fuck Charles Dickens.
If he was a kid, it's probably like 6. Year 6.
Year 6.
6 AD.
There's the dinosaurs, and then there was Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were at the same time.
AD is
I think
after
I do
dinosaurs.
recall Jesus riding a brontosaurus in the Bible somewhere.
She just brought it up. AD means after dinosaurs.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's right.
duh.
Stupid. Man. Fact check us.
I
All right, so
punctuated
was
that.
Dickens the only critic of this painting?
Oh, no, there was a bunch, but his was the most noted because
Because
he
he's
was-
Charles Dickens.
Yeah, it was Charles Dickens, and I wrote "fuck you, Dickens" after that because
This is a pretty good
Don't be
painting.
shitty.
I like it. Like,
Yeah.
if you go to the next one, you can see the detail. It's really good detail in there.
There's some
Yeah.
good stuff going on.
I mean,
Does
does he
just
have a
the rim
stigmata?
shadow.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, he has a stigmata. Spoiler alert.
Oh,
In case you didn't read to the end of the book.
25 years too early.
In case you've been on Earth this whole time and haven't heard about this guy named Jesus. Sure, somebody said something to you.
Wait, who's that?
He has a book.
He's a gardener.
Rock me,
Rock me,
sexy
sexy
Jesus.
Got it up and you better believe us.
Rock me, sexy Jesus.
I like the kid with the urn like next to him. You know what I mean? Who's
Yeah.
like, oh, say, would you like some more, please?
I think that's why they were like, he looks like he's hungover a little bit. That might be where the alcohol comes into play.
I want kisses, mommy.
Or it was just the famine at the time. The
famine for
malnourishment. Just,
Yeah, being alive.
I mean,
yeah.
I would say my only critique of this painting is I didn't necessarily realize that it was Mary and Jesus.
Yeah.
That's my only part
It's a
that I'm
very
like,
pretty Jesus.
And he's not nailed to a cross.
or not a baby
Or
Jesus
a
being
fat
rocked.
baby man.
Yeah.
Right. It's not your stereotypical, so that's the only reason why I wouldn't pick out of it.
And it's
Religious,
not stereotypical. It's 1800s.
Where's the halo
so it's
for no
bullshit.
reason?
Exactly.
I need something. There's no cherubs or angels or what the...
They
What
didn't
year was
wanna
this
give you
painted
that.
again?
Spoiler alert. This one was 1850.
Okay, so this
Yeah.
is pretty late.
So because of this, a lot of critics hated on their group, except for one.
Well, I know why. He made Jesus a ginger. That's
He
what it
did.
is.
Gingers are soulless. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Where were these guys? Where are
They
we-
were English.
They're all...
They're-
okay.
yeah.
This is
I know you've already said it like 6 times, but
I
you're
don't
going to
know
have to
if
say
I
it
did.
again.
The
I
Royal
was just making
Academy's
sure.
really
Yeah,
good.
that would
The
probably
Royal
offend
Academy.
offend some English guy. Like, oh, you're gonna make a ginger Jesus? You're gonna make a potato farmer? Fucking Jesus!
We probably ruined his tea that day. His cup of tea.
So yeah, that's beautiful lighting, but apparently it was bullshit according to Charles Dickens.
Who was a writer and not a painter, correct?
Correct. He was a critic, but no
So
art.
fuck Charles Dickens.
Fuck Charles Dickens. So
What
most
did he ever do anyway?
most critics hated on them.
Funny
except
side
for-
part, isn't the book that he wrote Oliver Twist, didn't he?
Probably.
Yeah, with the please sir, can I have some more comment? The guy in the
Oh,
corner, he
yeah.
wrote it after this.
Oh yeah.
He wrote it after that child and still was like, fuck that kid, he's an alcoholic. Charles Dickens is an asshole.
Charles Dick.
So the only real critic that liked them was named John Ruskin, but he absolutely loved Melas. Like, he loved the fact that they loved nature and rejected the norms. He just gushed over them, get a fucking room. Just wrote lovely things about him. So because of this, we're just going to go on a little sidebar here. Ruskin was a fantasy writer, and that's how he gained popularity, and then he started doing, like, art critic type stuff. He was married to a 19-year-old named Effie Gray in April of 1848. He was 28 at the time. Her parents encouraged the marriage because they were kind of courting each other since she was like 12 on and off.
Ugh.
Yep, I wrote ew after that.
Gross.
So after they got married,
That's how it was back in the
Yeah.
day.
they went to
Bad
Venice.
childhood.
I would.
That's a bad childhood.
It's bad.
Creepy bedroom stuff.
So after that, Ruskin and his new wife went to Venice. And Effie was an artist at the time, too, but it was the 1800s. No one gave a shit. She went there with him, and she's 19, so she wanted to do what 19-year-olds do, which is hang out and go party with people. And he was like, no, I have to work, I have to write, I'm not going anywhere.
She just wanted drugs.
She just wanted to hang out with people. So they got into
I
arguments.
just want to
over
go to the
this.
mall.
Basically. She's
I
like
just want to shop.
19 fucking years old, and I know you since we were 12.
I want to do these body shots.
Yeah.
And
Body shots.
body shots of
1800s.
tea.
Oh, God, that sounds disgusting.
Some old fucking room temp wine.
Some moonshine.
Let me peel off these 18 layers of clothing.
And I haven't
That I haven't washed in 3 years.
Yeah.
and I haven't bathed in a week.
Yeah.
A week?
Let me go climb in this pig trough.
Hey, man, bathing was a luxury back then.
It was.
So it wasn't a weekly thing or even a daily thing.
So fast forward to 1853. After writing great reviews for Malas, Malas goes to Scotland to meet up with them. Give me a sec.
Technical difficulties. Ugh.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So they go to Scotland to meet Ruskin and paint his portrait because he's so into Ruskin. Ruskin loves him. So while there, he paints his portrait, but he also has Effie sit for the order of release, which is the next image. And this is supposed to be a woman basically breaking her husband out of prison in Scotland in the 1700s.
Hence the kilt.
Yep. And the next one is the Waterfall.
The dog's just like, hey, hey.
Well, let's look at this one for a second because this is really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like this has some elements of like Renaissance art. Like there's like get a little
drapery.
Caravaggio vibe
Yeah.
from this, you know?
Is she bribing the guy?
She has a fake note, it looks like, to release him from prison.
Oh, I can't even read anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and believe that one.
Dude,
My
that-
dad wrote this note and said he can get out of jail.
Those look like some words.
Oh, you're right. Somebody did write this, huh?
Dude, the rendering on the dog is just so awesome.
I know.
That fur texture is great.
And I'm guessing he probably used that glazing technique over white where those spots are so like red on the dog and then the blue in the
Yeah.
head wrap.
Again, expensive blue.
Expensive blue. At that time, it wasn't as expensive. Back in the 1500s,
Yeah, I think they found
though.
other pigments by then.
Yeah. In the 1500s, if you were using that blue for not Virgin Mary, you were fucking blasphemous.
It's because it was made from lapis lazuli, too,
Yep.
which was like a rare mineral back then.
We do say smart things once in a while. Cheers, guys.
Well, I know a couple things here and there.
Keep drinking. It'll get dumber.
Did you know you can still get arrested for blasphemy in Poland?
You can.
Yeah.
We were talking about that last night. Yeah.
we were.
What, the singer of Behemoth?
Yeah.
Shout out to him. I hope you're listening.
In Poland? Do they have the internet yet there?
They just have old, antiquated religious laws still that enable things like that to happen. It's like if you offend religious feelings, you can get sentenced to jail time.
Yep.
That's why I was like, do they have the internet?
So if you think America sucks, people, just think about that.
How long? It's sidebar. How long is he actually like the sentence for, or how long could he go to jail for?
Up to 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably won't be that. It probably
I was
won't
like
happen,
Poland,
but-
so whenever they feel like, I guess. I feel like countries over there are just a little loosey-goosey with putting a number there.
Well, I mean, a lot of those countries don't have like a constitution like America has. Like
Yeah.
everybody wants to think like that America sucks, but we can say whatever the fuck we want on this podcast, and you know, within reason and not get in trouble. Like you can't do that in some countries.
Yeah.
You will get
Ruskin,
arrested.
come for me.
Fuck you, Charles Dickens.
Fucking Charles Suckins.
He's a dick. Ends.
But I really like this painting. It's very well rendered.
Yeah,
I like
Malas-
his socks. I know how that weird that sounds, but that fucking pink sock.
Yeah, I mean,
Wait.
is that like
it's
standard
beautiful.
issue shoes back in the day? Because like, how are you supposed to like battle another guy in that shit?
I don't know. I feel like you'd
And your
get real.
fucking wingtips.
I feel like you'd twist ankles a lot.
Yeah,
Wingtips and no boxer briefs.
Yeah.
It's got a kilt though. It's got a little freedom of movement there.
Yeah.
He's got a knife.
Probably
fighter
more than
under
he would
there.
like.
Yeah. There's more than
Hopefully
one
he
thing I
just-
can stab you with under this.
Hopefully he just doesn't roll his ankle while climbing a hill.
It's probably not little like that painting either.
Scottish boys.
It's big and angry and red.
All right, so we going to the next one.
Yeah. Next one's the Waterfall. And this is another Malas. Also
This
1852,
is
because he
pretty
painted
cool.
it while he was there visiting Scotland, visiting Ruskin and his wife.
I love all the details. My only issue is I couldn't find the waterfall at first.
Yeah.
Like there's so much going on in it and so much detail everywhere.
But I don't mind that. It's pretty.
Yeah, it's all very well rendered.
But that's my only slightly negative critique.
I wouldn't even say it's negative. It's just your observation on the
Yeah,
play.
that's what I mean. Yeah.
So while Molas is there, he becomes great friends with the couple. He draws and sketches them. He does cartoons of them. Some of the artwork that he did, Effie did copies of because, she was an artist, even though no one gave a shit because it was the 1800s.
Like a silly woman.
Silly. Look at her and her
Go bake me some
pastimes.
bread.
She thinks she's people.
So when they part ways, they go back home. Effie goes to visit her parents, which is normal around this time of year. And when she gets to her parents' house, she then mails her wedding ring back to Ruskin with a note that says, "I'm filing for an annulment." So
Not even divorce. She's going for the full annulment.
Yeah. So this is where all the juicy
this never
shit
happened
comes out.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Uh-oh.
So
juicy stuff.
Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
yeah, you have no idea. So
Did she
shocker.
expose all the boys club for the turds that they were?
No. So she fell in love with Molas during their trip. So she was like, I'm going to file for an annulment. It turns out that in the 5 years that her and Ruskin were married, they never consummated their marriage.
Sounds like Ruskin was a bitch, man.
Yeah.
Either
So,
that or he was checking out that small painting.
so
True.
Staring a little too much at that small package.
she wrote a letter to her
It's really
father.
into them Renaissance boys.
Yeah, them Renaissance boys. But he wrote a letter to the father, or she did, and said he alleged various reasons: the hatred of children, religious motives, a desire to preserve my beauty, and finally last year he told me the true reason, that he had imagined women were quite different to what he saw I was, and the reason he didn't want to make me his wife was he was disgusted with my person from the first evening. So Ruskin,
What a cool guy.
Yeah,
That doesn't-
Ruskin heard this and defended himself to his lawyer by saying, it might be strange that I abstained from a woman that most people thought would be attractive, but though her face was beautiful, her person was not formed to excite a passion.
She
Just didn't do it for him.
She just
She
didn't
just
have
didn't
a
do
dick.
it for him. So the annulment
Hey,
was
can you go
granted.
ahead?
Wait. So
What do you got under that burlap sack, huh?
that doesn't even
That
sound
girl
like,
look thick.
that doesn't even sound like a letter. All the things you listed, that sounds like a 30-page manifesto.
Yeah, she was angry. 5 years. So the annulment was granted on the grounds of incurable impotency
Oh.
in 1854.
Go find some horny goat weed, dude.
So
Shout out to that guy, because that's just depressing.
So it was never
Sucks to
said
be you, man.
what the deformity was, but people thought it was A, because she either had pubic hair, or B, because she had her period. Things change when you start dating a girl at 12 and she's 19 when you marry her, I guess. So that wasn't the only.
So the guy was a pedophile. That's what you're
yeah.
saying.
So that wasn't the only burn.
He liked your young, boyish body.
In 1855, she did marry Molas, and they had 8 kids. So she wasn't deformed.
She was not.
They had eight
8 kids.
Jesus.
And then Effie
Good for them.
cock-blocked him one more time because he got engaged to another teenager, and the teenager's parents were like, Effie, what's up with this dude? And she was like, well, he's a little overbearing. And they're like, yeah, you guys aren't getting married. So after that, Ruskin stopped writing favorable reviews. So they lost their only good art critic.
Oh.
Ruskin.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So that was the whole reason that
Chris.
Ruskin was in their pocket, more or less.
Yeah.
Giving them
'Cause
good reviews and
He
shit.
was giving them good reviews.
Because they let him stare at the young girls in the corner.
No, he wasn't like he was already married to the young girl in a different country. He just saw their stuff and was like, I like it. And then when people were like, you're kind of creepy, he's like, you know what? I don't like it anymore.
I like you. I like you. Go away.
So
I don't like you.
that kind of, because this
Oh,
whole
nice.
group only lasted about 5 years together, and then they dispersed slowly but surely.
How many were there?
There was 7 of them.
Okay.
But then the second
What?
thing,
I don't know.
That I can't remember 7
No.
or 1848 or
wait, where are they from again?
I just
Who are these guys?
I just keep imagining them pulling like a Dead Poet Society. Like, all right, we got to meet up at 7 o'clock after class. We're gonna smoke cigarettes on the balcony. We're gonna talk about how much we fucking hate Raphael. God, I hate Raphael so much.
For anyone joining, we're talking about 12 Spanish dudes from the 1700s.
Oh, you're way off.
It's either that or do you imagine they were like, we meet under the next full moon. Make sure to wear your hat and your cape.
Don't bring any girls with you guys.
Don't tell your wives.
We're going to ride our bikes.
Oh my God.
You don't have a bike? You can ride on my pegs. You can stand on my pegs.
As they kind of went on, if you go to the next one, a lot of the pre-Raphaelite paintings kind of had the same looking person. So there's that one,
Oh, I
which
love
is
her.
Ophelia.
Who painted that?
That one's
We're gonna
Melas.
get
We
into
get
that
into
in a
that
minute.
later. Those
Okay.
are just examples.
Okay.
This next one is
Because I thought it was a completely different
Whoa.
painting.
Rossetti one, and this one is Persephone.
That one's a little
Oh,
rougher
yeah.
around the edges.
Yeah, you'll find out a little bit.
She's got a thick neck.
I was
but-
about to say,
Thick.
was
With 4 C's.
That's Rossetti was not into realism as much, so
no
he
K, just
kind of made a little bit rougher looking women, but still like
This
the
is
bright
not how I
colors.
pictured Persephone in my head.
No.
was that a female model?
That's a
That
Greek
was.
myth.
Yeah.
That one was.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the model for this, her name is Elizabeth Siddal. If you go to the next picture, that's a photo of her right there.
It's very accurate.
So yeah, she does have a big neck.
Yeah, she does.
and a strong jaw.
Yep.
Is she like passed out drunk in this, or what's going on here?
You'll find out about her in a second.
Cool.
Yes.
So she was a painter and a poet, but again, it's the 1800s, so no one gave a shit. She was working for a dressmaker, and she ran into Walter Deverell's father, who was a member of the PRB, not PBR.
Yo, Walt.
So she shows him some of her artwork, and he's like, "This is great. You should model for my son.
You can paint well, but I'd prefer if you
Yeah.
You should sit down and look pretty."
just sit there and be naked.
Basically, so she ended up working with Deverell. She sat first for the 12th night photo, which is the next one. That's her all the way on the left. And at that point, she ended up meeting Rossetti through Deverell.
Now, how big is this piece? Because
It looks like it'd be pretty sizable.
I didn't write that down.
I was just curious because she sat for it, but yet,
There's a lot of people in it.
yeah, so many people that it was like, okay, is it really her?
Yeah, but as it goes on, you notice that they start doing more singular portraiture type stuff. So at the beginning, they did bigger compositions like this with a lot of figures, and then they kind of narrowed it down.
Yeah,
So,
figure drawing sucks.
In 1851,
Teach
she
you a lot
started.
about art, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All kinds of art.
In 1851, she started sitting with Rossetti, and then in, let's see, I wrote it down somewhere. 1851, she sat for Ophelia, which is her most well-known one. So she sat for Ophelia with John Everett Melas. In this painting, she sat in a bathtub that was heated by gas lamps during the wintertime. And while painting it, Melas didn't realize the gas lamps went out, and she got pneumonia
Oh, cool.
because she sat in cold water like that for hours.
Yeah, that's a dead person.
So because it's the
Hashtag dead
1800s,
inside.
yeah, she's very dead inside.
This
You'll
is a
see
great painting, though.
further along.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful, but yeah, that's a dead person.
But the story of Ophelia, yeah. If anyone knows Shakespeare, Ophelia kind of died off screen.
Kind of
And if
died.
and they were just like, "Oh, by the way, she died. She drowned herself."
Which play
We're
was
not
that from?
Hamlet.
Okay.
Hamlet or Macbeth?
She died.
Hamlet.
She died.
It's either Hamlet or Macbeth. I'm very bad at this.
Cheers.
It was a play. Or a book.
Hamlet, because isn't that who they try to save in Hamlet too? Go back in time to keep Ophelia from drowning.
Yeah.
And Jesus, of course.
Rock with sexy Jesus.
So while posing for this, she gets pneumonia. And back then, women don't have rights. So her father's like, "I'm going to sue you, Melas, to cover this 50-pound bill for her medical treatment." And he's like, I don't have that much money. And he's like, "Okay, just give me what you have." So,
Just give me the painting.
yeah,
Did
just
he,
give
did he
me
get this painting? That
probably
was-
like $10 and a pack of cigarettes. I'm sure she didn't even get medicine out of the deal.
But
Back
Got
then, they
snakes
would've
and
just-
leeches.
do you think
yeah,
she
they
got
would
to,
have gave her fucking mercury back then or something.
Yeah.
She might have gotten a couple of cigarettes out of it though.
She might have, because that'll help with pneumonia. Cigarettes. Medicinal cigarettes.
It helps build up the lung
Medicinal tobacco.
You might also recognize this from when we covered arts and craft because he did a copy of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did,
Hangs-
didn't he?
Yeah.
It helps build up the lung tissue, the nicotine.
So after this, she continued to sit for Rossetti, and he used Elizabeth for a model, and then she began to date. At that time, he forbade her from modeling for any of the other Pre-Raphaelites. He also
He's like, fuck these other guys.
fuck
I
these
know
other
they're shady
guys.
assholes that are going to try and steal you away from
Yeah.
me. Don't
You
fucking talk to
stay
me.
here.
You mind. You mind.
Not only did he say that, he also was like, your name has 2 L's, has 1 now. I like it with 1 L.
He changed her name.
He changed her name. They got married in 1860. She was real frail at that time, so they had to like carry her to the chapel.
How do you just change her name? Like, I can't get past that. It's like,
I don't know.
oh, Josephine. Now I'm going to call you Carla.
Dude, they did all
Basically.
sorts of shitty things to women back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he married her just so he didn't have to like tell her what she could and couldn't do without it being legal, you know? In 1857, before they got married, another woman began modeling for him named Jane Morris. We'll put a little pin in that and go back to it later. But in 1860, she was carried to the church because she was so frail to marry him with 1 L in her name because she wasn't allowed to have the second one anymore.
Don't we have a
Frail with
detail
1
of this
L.
one?
Yeah, we do. That one right there. You can see all the little jewel detail in her dress.
Sweet.
Molas is
I mean,
fucking ridiculous.
I really like their attention to detail that these guys have.
Yeah.
Like, they definitely accomplished that part of their manifesto.
Mm-hmm.
To do
Now,
more
This guy
details.
especially, like, he was on his game.
Now, do you like this one or Mark Landis's version better?
I'd have
this
to
one,
see the
it-
Landis version next to it.
This one, because this one probably doesn't have instant coffee in it. You know, it'll last
to make
longer.
it look old.
Or
Yeah.
Rose Art crayons?
Man, shout out
or-
to Mark
Somebody
Landis
almost
again.
died for this.
Yeah,
The
she-
auto gives it a +1. Or like a
true.
+5.
You'll learn, like,
true.
the more I go into her story, she basically let them use her up till there was nothing left of her. So she had pneumonia from this. She let Rossetti change her name. Rossetti was a womanizer, so he went around and fucked a bunch of bitches. But he was married to her, so he just, you know, drew her and painted her as much as he wanted.
Man, this is the cool guy club right here.
She apparently, they said she had an intestinal issue, but she might have been anorexic and was definitely addicted to laudanum.
Are you sure there was
What?
more than one woman?
Laudanum.
Are you sure there was more than one woman, or did they, all 7 guys just keep passing her around?
There was more than one, but she modeled for a lot of their paintings. And
Okay.
even after she died, because Rossetti did so many drawings of her, he did like thousands of drawings of her because he just kind of kept her locked in the house all day. Other painters, I think, used those to paint later on, way after she passed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she had issues with depression and an addiction to laudanum. And since she wrote poetry, she wrote this lovely poem about her husband. Lo, I sit down at my lady's feet, gazing through her wild eyes, smiling to think my love will fleet when her star-like beauty dies. So yeah, she
What's
knew
laudanum?
that. Laudanum was like a painkiller back in the day,
Ooh.
but you can get super addicted to it, and
Like most
it's-
painkillers.
yeah.
Super fun.
it just numbs
So it's
you
like
on the
a
inside.
early opiate then kind of thing.
So
I wonder if that has anything to do with Dilaudid. I know that's a thing they give you now after
Dilaudid,
surgery.
yeah.
That sounds
probably
like it would be
like a
derived from
derivative.
that.
I think
from
it
that.
is.
But back then they just handed that shit out all willy nilly. So she was just like, my cough,
They still do.
my belly. They're like laudanum.
Snakes.
They still do. You try to get like, what was it? Like your tonsils had an issue or something? And they were
Oh,
like,
I had tonsillitis and they wouldn't give me antibiotic. They were just like, I have Vicodin. I'm like, I can't swallow this horse pill. Just give me antibiotics.
One time I had a tooth pulled and they told me they were going to give me like 3 Vicodin just to eat for the day after. They gave me like fucking 30.
Yeah. Yeah. I
they
just
accidentally
didn't care.
wrote a 0 at the
Yeah.
end of 3.
Oh,
No.
3 a day? Yeah, for the next 10 days, dude. Hey, high 5. Yeah.
No, did they pull the tooth?
Yeah, that was when I actually. Yeah.
Well, this all reminds me of like the Nick, you know,
Yeah.
with like medical cocaine
Yeah.
and heroin back at like this is
Same
probably
around
not
the
too
time
far,
frame.
yeah, from this time period, yeah.
This
Yeah,
is the 1800s.
The Nick was in 18. I think it started in 1893.
It was the turn of the century. It was 1900.
yeah, so this was 1860s when
Yeah.
she was doing it.
But it was the 90s for the Nick, the show. So
Good old
So-
archaic chemistry.
Rossetti was pretty obsessed with her, but still, fucked around with other women. He kind of, I think, was just in for the beauty aspect because clearly she sold paintings. Even back then, like, critics weren't sure of all of this, but they still liked it because her, basically. But she had depression, and she was addicted to laudanum, so she was pregnant and had a stillbirth, and then after that had another miscarriage. And then in 1862,
Do
at
we
age...
drink to dead babies?
No.
Well, hold off. There's more death.
No.
Okay, cool.
We don't Yeah, no.
In
Not dead babies.
1862, at
Just drank
age...
to penis research.
Stillborn.
Yeah. Stillborn's too much. Dicks, though.
This one goes out to Mr. Potato Head's dick.
Cheers, Mr. Potato Head. Yeah, we'll drink to that.
Smashing potatoes.
Quick, he's choking on Potato Head's dick. Somebody deep fry it so he can swallow it.
Oh, God.
You guys are going to be the death of me.
But in 1862, age 32, she died from an overdose of laudanum.
She died.
She died.
She died.
Overdose.
If you guys want to cheers
That sucks.
Rossetti was set to call on 3 doctors to try to revive her. They said she had a note pinned to her breast that said, "Please look after Harry." Harry was her invalid, mentally delayed brother. Rossetti took the note and apparently destroyed it to stop the shame on the family and allow her a Christian burial.
What
Oh,
shame would
jeez.
that? Take care of my retarded brother. Oh, you're gonna bring shame to your name.
Your retarded brother? No.
I think it was probably more the suicide aspect.
because that was like illegal back then. Because they're going to throw a dead body in jail.
Oh, sweet.
So dumb.
Just staring at a dead body. Just like, you wait till your trial comes up, and then we'll figure out what to do with you.
Dude, there is a Ruining History episode. If anyone's never watched Ruining History, do it. Where they go over bad popes, and there was one pope that kept getting compared to an older pope before him and was like, you know what? Fuck this. We're going to put that asshole on trial for all of the shit he did. So you could see he was a piece of shit, and I'm great. Go dig him up.
And they
dug him up and put him there and had someone like answering questions for him, sitting next to him, and the dude's just...
Yeah, they dug up the dead
somebody
Pope,
using
like,
him as a puppet.
like 25 years later. He's all like just pure cartilage at that point. Just
Oh,
my
that's
God.
awesome.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
So yeah, if
Have you heard any of the crazy stories about how they would put animals on fucking trial? Like, oh, you accidentally kicked a prince. You're going to fucking court, horse. And the horse is just like, what the fuck did I do? I'm a horse.
That, I think, was alcohol and laudanum back then. Just the judges drank that and they were like, fuck that horse.
Yeah.
just a good mixture.
So we're going to go back to Jane Morris. We put a pin in her. He started drawing her back in like 1857. So before
Which guy?
Rossetti. So
Rossetti,
he
okay.
started, he was doing like drawing her as well as his wife before he married his wife. And so he
girlfriend
continued,
and mistress.
Yeah. He continued to draw her, but by 1870, it became obvious they were having an affair, even though she was married, and he was a widow. So this kind of caused him to freak out a little bit, and he stopped like displaying her paintings anywhere. And then he had a mental breakdown and tried to kill himself with laudanum. But he survived. And then they separated in 1877, but no guilt there. Not at all. Not even a little. But those two things, I'm pretty sure, is why the Pre-Raphaelites just fell the fuck apart, because they were like, fuck Michelangelo.
Hey,
and
it sounds like these guys were a
Raphael
fucking
and-
mess the whole time they were together.
They were. They were a hot mess.
Man, they did some cool artwork, though.
You know what really fucking grinds my gears? Raphael and Michelangelo.
But we should probably paint like them.
Yeah.
We'll paint like them, but not like them, because they're assholes. But we'll use similar.
Hey, have you
color
guys met my
palettes.
15-year-old wife?
She was 19. He rescued her from the writer that was
Rescued her
creep.
like a fucking dog.
Yeah.
Sir Lancelot.
And then in his manifesto was basically like, I want to puke on her face the fucking first minute I saw her, and I love her so much.
No. He loved her face. He didn't. He
He
hated
didn't like
everything
the rest
else.
of her. Ruskin
Oh,
was just
yeah.
like, she wasn't.
There was something I
12
despised
anymore.
about her from the night we met.
He thought she had a dick, and it
Yeah.
turns out she didn't.
Or he thought she didn't have pubes because they got together when they were 12.
From the neck down, or from the neck up, she was pretty. From the neck down.
She was an adult. That's what the problem was. So,
Shave that shit.
by... If you get anything from
With
this,
fucking
it's
what, dude? It's
Don't do-
1800s, dude.
don't do
They're gonna
laudanum.
use like a fucking sharpened
shave that
rock.
shit. So, they basically
Oh,
split
grab
up.
that dagger under some Scottish guy's kilt. Be like, hold on, mate. I need the fucking shave.
You don't want that 1870s bush.
Just
But where is she supposed to hide her laudanum?
All right,
It's
let's
the
get
best way
back
to
on
get in
track
the club,
here.
dude. You're not gonna get pat down. That
What's
ain't
the-
gonna get fell off.
What's the next image we're looking at?
Okay, so
Wait.
next one is basically they dispersed. A couple people still kept adding themselves to the Pre-Raphaelite title, but they weren't part of the original group. One main one that you see a lot of influence on is John William Waterhouse. Another John, amazing stuff.
he was part of their group.
No, but
He was influenced
considered-
by the
Yeah.
techniques of this group.
Good, because I like him.
Like
So.
20 years later, he's like, y'all ever dig through the crates and find this shit, the PBRs?
Yo, these guys were crazy, man.
But
Don't
this
drink
one,
PBR. They won a blue ribbon once.
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 What year did they win the blue ribbon?
Around this time.
Yeah, 1888 was when this was painted. So
1870s is when PBR got a blue ribbon.
Oh.
Really?
Coincidence? I think not.
That's why they had to lose the PRB name.
So who painted this?
This one is John William Waterhouse,
In 1878?
1888.
Are you sure this wasn't in 1988? Because I'm pretty sure I saw this out of that Woodstock documentary.
I'm sure this ended up on a lot of vans.
Yeah.
There was a resurgence for this as well as like Gustav Klimt and pretty much anyone that was Art Nouveau in the 70s.
Yeah, fucking San
Alphonse,
Francisco
yeah.
acid house posters
Yeah.
back in the day.
So this is Lady of Shalott. The next one is Soul of a Rose.
Well, let's take a look at this for a second. It's fucking awesome.
The details in it.
Yeah.
Honestly, a lot of paintings from Melas and Waterhouse get confused because they use like the same fucking techniques.
Uh-huh.
But you can definitely tell the level of detail with Waterhouse is there.
Melas had a lot of detail as well.
I feel like he has a lot more like texture and just a lot more.
Well, this guy came, John William Waterhouse was after all those dudes.
Yeah.
Like, basically learning from their techniques.
that's what I'm saying.
and
I
their
feel like he
paintings.
took it to the next level, and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can really
for sure.
tell.
I think the reason it gives that appearance is because they focused on bright colors and he actually used muddy colors to contrast.
Right.
The
Yeah,
brights.
realistic colors.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, everything around the girl kind of looks like a painting, but her level of rendering is like, holy shit.
Yeah, I mean,
It
there-
looks like a fucking photo when you look at
Yeah.
that quilt.
I mean,
yeah, there's some impressionistic qualities to this painting, though. Like in the background, it's very
Yeah,
loose.
some of the just brushstrokes that make a weed hanging out in front and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
like,
it made the joke
rendering
about
of the girl,
Woodstock,
damn.
but it really does look straight up photographic, like
yeah,
from that
Yeah.
time period.
slap it fucking Janis
Especially
Joplin
when you
logo
look
on
at-
top and you got an album cover.
Yeah.
when you look at like stuff like this from far away, when you look at the big picture, as it were,
Yeah.
it looks like a photograph. But if you like really zoom in on like the bottom there, like where the reflection in the water is, you can tell it's paint. Like,
You can see the little chunkiness and
There's that
Yeah.
little thing where you like unfocus your eyes a little bit to see
Yeah.
how like the hole sticks out.
So back in the day, because I was an art nerd, I had a poster of this and then one of Ophelia. And that's probably where my obsession with Viking funerals came from. So just dress me like this, put me in that boat, and set me on fire.
she wants to have a Viking.
don't do it in the Susquehanna.
She wants to have a
No.
Viking funeral when she dies, and that's when I'm like the only body of water nearby is the Susquehanna.
I don't think you're allowed to do that.
Weekend at
though.
Bernie's me somewhere else and do it there.
Throw me in a rich guy's boat and set it on fire because I don't have my own.
Just steal a yacht.
I'm scared.
Fucking blow it up.
One, I don't want to burn you like a Viking funeral, but two,
Lame.
the idea of doing it on the Susquehanna River, I'm pretty sure it's just pure gasoline.
Oh, I'm going to take all of Susquehanna with
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, and everywhere from Broome County all the way down to Philadelphia is just going to catch on fire.
Yeah.
Like it's just going to be a giant.
Yeah, that's one way to go out for sure.
Go out like a firework, like Katy Perry says. She was talking about my funeral.
Yeah, but then I'm in prison.
For what?
You run, man.
I think there's regulations
wink.
against such things in all of the United States. Like, I don't think you could just take somebody's body and just burn it.
Florida
like,
man.
Yeah, they would've-
Sidebar.
Florida man.
Sidebar. Florida man. About 2 years ago, this guy did put it in his will that he wanted to have a Viking funeral. So
I
his,
think we talked about this before on
Yeah,
here, but continue.
probably his kids didn't 100% understand Viking funeral didn't mean gasoline and fireworks. So they soaked it with gasoline and then put like $4,000 worth of fireworks.
But they
on
only
it.
pushed him like 3 feet away from the actual.
And
like,
it wasn't even a boat;
shore.
it was just like a wooden raft. And then they shot bottle rockets at it until it blew up. It blew up so badly that there was a guy who was leaving his house like 2 miles downriver, walked outside and got hit in the face with.
No, he didn't get hit in the face. His fucking something hit his roof, and he looked and it was a leg.
There was one guy who got hit in the face with a hand though, like just straight
Oh,
up.
that's
just,
a cosmic bitch slap.
like just straight up slap in the face.
that's karma right
Yeah,
there.
he earned that one somehow.
He did
God.
something shitty, and it came back to him in the best way possible.
Yeah.
I love those videos when they find like a beached whale in the 60s and they don't know what to do with it, so they just fill it up with fucking dynamite. Like, what are we gonna do with this 2-ton rotting carcass? You just try shoving another 2 tons of dynamite up its ass?
Or those videos on
That would get rid of
YouTube
them.
where you see the Russian guys fishing with dynamite.
Bah, ha, bah.
People do that, though.
Oh,
Loves you.
we know.
I
All right,
lost it.
well, let's get back to the images
Okay.
here.
So the next one is going to be The Soul of a Rose from
It's so
1903.
I've been kissed by a rose on the
Fucking
grave.
seal.
But if you notice,
It looks like Jessica Chastain.
yeah, but it also looks like Elizabeth. All these women look like Elizabeth.
Yeah.
So he fucking painted them to look like Elizabeth. Also, the Persephone one, I didn't go over it, but that one Rossetti used the Jane Morris as the inspiration for it, but gave her red hair like his dead wife, because the guilt. The next one is his version of Ophelia, and this one is from 1894,
Shit.
and it also looks just like Elizabeth.
Fuck, that's...
Just the fucking detail on those lily pads. Waterhouse's stuff is all this beautiful. I recommend everyone go look it up. 90% of it's based on literature or Greek myths. You can see sirens.
Yeah, it feels like David Bowie fucking Labyrinth is about to jump out of this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like all the other guys we were talking about was like, fuck the Renaissance, whereas he looked at it and was like, how do I combine what they did and the Renaissance?
Yep.
How do I do what they did and not be a dick?
Not just... This dude had his shit together.
Well, first I'll call up Charles
Those 7
Dickens.
guys, not so much. That's why I wanted to cover him, because it was a group of 7 men, and not one of them had a fully thought idea from... They had no 5-year plan.
And our atoms need bigger dicks!
They're just like, fuck the establishment, man.
Who has a 5-year plan? Who
Sir
really?
Sloshua.
Sloshua Reynolds, what's your 5-year plan? Not die?
Have a school that's still fucking open?
Yeah, I wonder
What
what
are you
happened.
guys
What
doing?
happened to that guy?
Yeah, I don't know. His school's still kicking ass.
We should probably find out before calling you that.
Yeah, what are these guys? These guys,
I don't
what
really
did they
care.
do?
I
They
think that's
die?
a great name.
Make sure we're not calling you like an 18th century pedophile.
If I ever get like
It's
too
the 18th
drunk and out
century.
of
I think
hand,
they're
feel
all-
free to call me Sloshua. That's fine.
Sir Sloshua.
Sir Sloshua.
I won't be mad at you. That's when I'll know to like take it down a notch.
You're like, oh, okay, I am sleeping on this bag of combos.
Why take it down a notch? Embrace it.
Yeah, just
True.
run into it full force. Like the Kool-Aid man through a wall.
Do we have any more?
No, this is it.
That's the last one?
These are the Pre-Raphaelites.
Yeah, cool. All
And
right.
Waterhouse.
Who is way
That
cooler?
was strange.
Yeah.
Some weird guys. Sound like
There were
really
some-
fucking weird guys.
There are some weird guys.
Like, I have some friends that I would be like, yeah, bro, but not like that.
I feel like the weirdest out of them was Ruskin. He wasn't even part of the group. He wanted to be.
He was the eighth
He was.
The 8th guy in the
Well,
corner.
I mean, it looks
Fucking
like their
Ruxin.
their idealism
Fucking
kind of gave birth to like John William Waterhouse, or at
Yeah.
least had a big impact on him.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
I feel like
so
out
they
of
made
all
their
of
mark
them-
on art history.
Yeah, out of all of them, Malas had his shit together, even though he married some other dude's wife. But
Well, yeah, all scumbaggery aside.
yeah. Which out of that, I don't think he was the scumbag in the situation. That writer, he liked 12-year-olds. It was weird.
Yeah.
So if you take anything out of this, shave your bush,
Shave your 1870s bush,
take little amounts of laudanum.
or none at all.
Yeah.
and don't go to chain restaurants.
And apparently, Mr. Potato Head has a huge dick.
Yes.
The more you know.
This has been a great
Yeah.
time hanging out with you guys this
Yeah, it
week.
was a fun episode.
What the fuck?
What's next?
I don't fucking know.
I'm just curious.
I
Like, what
planned
set
this
these guys
today.
off about? Like, just to be so mad about Michelangelo.
I mean, probably.
I'm so sick of hearing about fucking Michelangelo.
Well,
Can you
gotta-
imagine they were like passing back notes to each other, like meet at my dad's house at 3:30.
We're gonna start an anti-Michelangelo club.
Well, you got to think there was like 300 years that elapsed.
Yeah.
300 years
Yeah.
plus between when the Sistine Chapel was painted and when these
Yeah.
guys formed their little posse.
Yeah.
If they were like,
So-
if I have to sit through one more class looking at that dude's tiny penis on a ceiling.
I mean, I can
I'm gonna
see it
lose
though.
my
Like you get
shit.
taught the same stuff over and over again, and like maybe they had a need to innovate and create new things. Like that makes
But I
sense.
also feel
Maybe
like that
they
might
look-
be the basics, because back then that's when they figured out like proportions and shit.
Yeah,
Maybe they look at it like you look at abstract art.
possibly. Yeah,
It's possible.
How do you
But
feel
if
about
you look
abstract
at-
art?
it's garbage, but
Cool.
that's neither here nor there.
But the Pre-Raphaelites, if you look at their shit, it's very similar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely take. Well, I mean, if they're talking about pre-Raphael, then they are talking about like Caravaggio and stuff like that. You know, that time period, that like high mark and Renaissance artwork. Like, I guess you could look at like stuff that's commissioned by the church, like excessively, like the Sistine Chapel, things like that. As where am I going with this?
I don't know, Slasha, where are you going?
It's just too
Slut
like
nice.
maybe too commercial.
Slut.
You know, like it was too commercial at that point, or it's like,
Yeah. But they didn't even bring that up. They were like, medieval's awesome and nature's great.
yeah.
Fuck Michelangelo. They didn't. I don't think
Sir
they.
Sloshua. So good and so kindergarten.
Yeah, it is. It's very kindergarten. That's why I like it so much.
I kind of hope they also wrote down the rules somewhere and made everyone take notes or had like giant copies of it to hang. in
Oh
their
man!
homes.
Or when they meet up, they act like, "Welcome to a meeting of the Midnight Society. If you'd like to join our group, you have to blow this candle out on the cusp of winter solstice."
Do you think they turned the lights out and everyone was like,
Yeah.
and then in the corner they had it like chiseled into stone, their rules. Make cool pictures.
Yeah.
I hope they had nicknames for each other that were secret too.
Doggy
They
Dave,
did like Sloshua.
Well, that was the guy they hated, though.
Sloshua and Doggy Dave.
Doggy Dave.
I don't know.
Who's Doggy Dave? What podcast did you just fucking sit
It'd
through?
be funnier if they had names like the Paladin,
Exactly.
the Rogue.
That's what I mean.
Orion, the art history orc.
Yeah.
And Doggy Dave.
Oh god.
I am the cleric of new beginnings.
Like a D&D club.
Roll your D20 to see how many brushstrokes are needed in this painted area. You need to apply 50 more brushstrokes to your glossy glass painting.
And by no means are we hating on Magic the Gathering.
No,
Oh,
we're hating
Magic.
on these guys.
Yeah, these guys just suck.
Well, they didn't suck. They just
Well, as humans, they sucked. As artists, they were good.
they kind of didn't have their shit together. They had some.
Hey,
You seem like a
most
bunch of
artists do
fucking-
suck as humans, though,
Yeah,
as you'll
that's my
find listening to this
favorite
podcast.
thing. I look for people and I'm like, what's the worst thing about them? And then I'm like, yeah, this one's getting right up.
Yeah, side note, she was here tattooing today, or was at work
Writing.
today, writing, and she texted me like 4 or 5 times, like, should I talk about this person? And then was like, wait, no, nothing ratchet about them. And she
Yeah,
just kept,
I was
like,
going to
crossing
do
off.
Gustav Klimt first because I found out he was a cat lady. He wore muumuus with no underwear underneath and had like a bunch of cats in his studio and was like, you know what's a great fixative? Cat piss. So like
Gross.
millions of dollars of sketches are lost to time because he covered them in cat piss.
We should probably talk about that at some point.
That
I
was the
call that
most
junkum.
interesting thing. Everything else was just like basic.
I really think we should talk about Thomas Kincaid soon, though, because like
Yes.
I've kind of
Okay.
had an obsession with that lately since I saw that video. I
That's
sent
all
guys.
you, man.
Okay, cool.
I feel like I have PTSD from 90s Thomas Kincaid because that was like preschool, man. Like preschool and kindergarten. It was like every puzzle and coloring book. Every kid's book was illustrated for some reason by him. It was terrible.
Do you think we should find an artist that we actually like coming up soon too, or just keep
Oh, I mean,
keep mocking?
It'd be cool to do Caravaggio
these.
soon because we haven't
Oh,
done
yeah.
that yet, and there's a lot of.
That was almost the main inspiration for the show because
Yeah.
you kept being like,
Yeah.
hey, you know what Caravaggio did? I'm like, that's the craziest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, Caravaggio's gonna be like
the guy's about as ratchet as you can
Yeah.
get in
The
the,
thing
high
is,
Renaissance.
I will stab you over some fucking oysters.
I feel like after Caravaggio though, we might have to revamp the whole podcast.
No, there's still David of the Swollen Cheek.
Right, but we're just
Yeah,
gonna,
there's
we're gonna
that,
almost
too.
peak at that point. Like anything after that is not gonna be ratchet enough that it's just gonna be like
I'm
So-
sure we could find some more garbage people that
Yeah.
exist within the art world.
So on the way home yesterday,
Jackson
like,
Pollock
who-
wasn't exactly awesome.
Dude,
No.
To like
None of them
people.
are.
on
That's
the way,
the thing. How many golden boys are there in art? Maybe Bob Ross?
the 4 of us in this room,
Yeah, no.
Christina in this room.
We get drunk and
didn't
talk
exhale.
shit, so
I didn't exhale.
don't ever run for office.
on a side note, on the way home,
running
I was
for mayor.
like, what am I going to do tomorrow? I don't think anything will ever top William Blake. He yeeted a kid off of a scaffolding and saw Jesus. And Brandon's like, what? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, you
he-
forgot about
he
that
thinks
already.
like I-
That was like a few
What?
episodes ago, dude.
I have no idea. What are you talking about? I'm like, you were here for this.
And then I responded with, side note, I'm not aware that we did an episode on William Blake. That's
On
how,
that note,
that's how
Bam
drunk,
has to go watch the William Blake
He
episode.
does.
that's how
so
drunk I was.
We're out.
Peace.
See you guys.